to foreclose fraudulently, and we don't have a year for me to stand up here and tell you all the ways, but I'm just going to go through a couple of them. One is to return payments. Somebody's paying every month on time. They get a refund check saying that there was some misapplication of payments. The bank won't accept any more of their payments, and in a few months they're in foreclosure. So the bank's position is, hey, they're not paying. Well, the answer is, you're not accepting my payments. But we're not allowed to say that in a court of law and be listened to, because our judges are biased, and because now we have new laws coming that we aren't even going to have the right to say that. So another scam is to put force-placed insurance, or to manipulate the escrow payments, or to misapply payments, or to hold somebody's check and then say you're not paying the right amount and we're going to foreclose on your home. That is another manufactured foreclosure. Another manufactured foreclosure is promising someone they're going to get a modification. They just need to be late a couple of months and they'll get that modification. The person stops paying for a couple of months as instructed, and a few months later they get foreclosure papers and they cannot extricate themselves from this quagmire of hell. There are so many ways that there are good, hard-working, honest people that just want to put a roof over their family's head and food on the table, and they are struggling to make this happen, and they are being lied to, abused, and scammed by this foreclosure enterprise. We must stand up for our rights, not stop talking.
The school revenue and the police and our infrastructure, all of the things that property tax revenue goes towards, are obviously no longer receiving the revenues that they could or should. The property values were never worth what we were told during the real estate boom, but they're certainly been greatly damaged to the extent that they are today, and the property values are not going to stop their free fall. They're certainly not going to stop their free fall. We're going to see, I believe, and Lynn and I have talked about this year, the most number of families dispossessed. The foreclosure filings peaked in '09, and then it takes some time to work through the courts, and this is the year of the mass dispossessions and evictions. Just think morally and ethically. I mean, I know that this is a securitization teaching, but 61 families, we're talking, there was in this one trust, 6,734 loans. 61 in our county. One person is able to sustain what he was given. Now, if that's not indicative of a scam, what is? There's a problem. And if we could do this to more and more trusts, I think people can understand it's not just the deadbeat family that bought more house than they can afford. Those types of figures matter, because there was not 60 deadbeats lined up with Mr. Back to sign, into this scam.
I've lived in this county for 32 years. I practiced law here for 32 years. I know a little about this county. And all I wanted to do was meet with Sharon Bach, the clerk of the courts, and show her that there were tens of thousands of fraudulent documents being filed in our county records.
Which she has on her website. One of the parts of her motto is to protect the integrity of the land records.
And I could not get a meeting. And even after I thought, well, now that I'm a movie star, after my 60 Minutes appearance, she would have to meet with me, because I was famous then. But I wrote to her again and said, Sharon, dear Ms. Bach, all I want is 15 minutes to show you what's wrong, what's happening in our land records. Still no meeting. Our message this whole year is correct, modify the mortgages in the trust. Don't kick out any more families, because it hurts everyone. It hurts the investors, it hurts the families, and it hurts the communities. So we need to modify or correct to fair market value. And we need mortgages that make sense for our families and our investors and the country. In order for our economy to recover, we have to get over the foreclosure crisis the more foreclosures that are filed, the worse the crisis becomes.
Which the foreclosures are really just a symptom of securities fraud, and I mean investment securities fraud. Wall Street figured out how to use promissory notes and mortgages as gambling chips, and this is the outcome. The bailout for the banks, homelessness for us. I am also going to run as part of my activism for Clerk of Court in Palm Beach County. So I'm using that as a way to just speak out and speak the truth. I need to get 8,219 signatures of registered voters in Palm Beach County. If anyone wants to help me collect those, just let me know. But again, this is all just for me, part of my activism. I have not too much respect for the whole political system, but you got to go where you're led. If anyone has any questions, I'm here for a little while longer, and then there's all kinds of ways we can fight this machine. So you can
consider carefully the position that your elected representative is going to take on issues that truly matter to you, your parents, your community, and your children. Put your vote towards that. The other issues are very important to you, but they are not going to matter if you don't have a roof over your head.
Local governments, counties, and municipalities are invested heavily in these. And this is why we all need to wake up, and it's not about the person not paying their mortgage. It is not about that, because it is a much bigger picture, and it's very complex. Okay, so when you look at the investor reports, we know they're false and they're fake. They say loans are delinquent that have already been wiped out, sold, the home's been sold to a new buyer, that money is not there. Even a fourth of that money is not there. They're not going to sell that home's already been sold. They're claiming it, they need it. Why do they need it? The banks are insolvent, and they, just like a starving human being, if you're starving, what are you going to do to get food? You're going to lie, cheat, and steal.
We do not have access to justice here in our courts in many ways, and we certainly don't have access to justice through our legislators, our law enforcers, and our regulatory agencies. But you know where we have justice from? In my personal belief, I have justice from a God, and we also have justice from our own conscience and our human belief that we as a group can fight for what is right. And so there is a term called opprobrium. And opprobrium means shame to the point of changing behavior. And we as citizens must shame these financial institutions. We must shame the legislators that support them to our grave peril. And we must look at them as the cloak of shame that is thrown on us. We must be like a boomerang and throw that shame back where it belongs.
Is that our corporate media really bases everything on its advertising revenue, right? And so much of the word that's being spread out there is that these homeowners are just milking the system. They're sitting in their house, not paying anything, and they're taking it away. We don't see anything about these banks and what they're actually doing. We don't see all of this information that Lisa and Lynn have given us today. Why aren't we seeing that on the front page news? Your average American thinks that if this is really truly happening, that would be on the front page news.
You never know what history is going to reveal as to who is complicit or not, or how that's going to unwind, or how that's going to... I wouldn't want to be... I'm happy I'm on this side. That's all I can say.